morning. I swear a lot.
It is 4:35 in the PM, and you're watching or listening to The Foreman. I'm your host, Foreman, and I'm going to start today initially skipping the small talk simply to answer the question posed by the video so that people who are interested in knowing the answer to this question do not actually have to listen through half an hour of waffling or however long this one turned out to be, and instead can have their answer and be on their way. I'm not going to try and bait people into sitting through these entire videos. The primary reason why I don't stream is because my internet is extremely poor. My Wi-Fi is crap, it's inconsistent, and it could not maintain a decent bitrate in order to have a high quality stream of any kind, really. With that in mind, now the people who simply want an answer to that question can be on their way. For everyone else, I plan to discuss details around that answer in of itself and silliary reasons why I'm not interested in streaming or can't stream or I'm disincentivized to stream, and I don't know, just generally chat like we normally do. So, back to the intro. How are you guys doing today? You alright? I'm good. I'm tired. My sleep schedule's been absolutely ruined lately, but recently I went and hung out with Luke and Buffy for like a day, and that was fun. We've been playing Metroid Dread around theirs, consistently. They'd wait until I went back around to play it each time, and we beat it. We beat Metroid Dread. That game's hard. We played that on normal mode, and that was difficult. It's a tough game. Cool ending though, and Samus is fantastic in it. She's super cool. She does more melee unarmed shit than I expected, and she's brutal. It's fantastic. Really good animations and stuff in that game, and finisher animations and stuff like that. Really, really cool. And then we fucked around on Resident Evil 4 Remake Mercenaries for a bit, and then it was 3 in the morning, right? I went home at 3 in the morning, and I was like, mate, to myself, I was like, mate, it's 3 in the morning. I'm gonna sleep like a baby, right? I've been socializing all day, granted with 2 people I'm very comfortable with, but still socializing, which tires me out. I'm gonna sleep like a baby. Not quite. It took me 2 hours to fall asleep. I didn't fall asleep until 5 o'clock this morning, and then I woke up at 9. And I feel like utter garbage, and have done the entire day. I just finished recording Limbus, and I think I did alright, but man, am I fucked. Absolutely fucked. I don't know how to fix my sleeping schedule. I don't know what to do. I've tried to cut down caffeine. I've tried to change my schedule a bit to, allow for a winding down period before bed, have a hot bath to, drain off some of that energy or whatever, do more active stuff throughout the day to burn off energy so that I can sleep better at the end of the day. No good. Every night now, I swear it's every night for the past week or more, it's taken me 2 hours to fall asleep, and it's fucking miserable. It used to be the case all the time, but now it's back. I was fine for a while, and now it's back and it sucks. But believe it or not, my sleep schedule is not the topic for today's discussion, although I sure am willing to complain about it any opportunity I get. No. Obviously, the topic in question for today is why don't I stream? Because streaming is a very popular thing, and someone actually presented an excellent idea in the last Foreman Talks, which I really liked the idea of. And they simply said, why don't you try streaming Foreman Talks instead of recording it? And I thought that was a really, really cool idea, because I could come up with these topics, present them to you guys live, and we could have an actual discussion where I can bounce off ideas off you guys, you can respond, and we can have a back and forth. I thought that was a brilliant idea, right? But I can't. I cannot stream, unfortunately. And we'll discuss the primary reason first, because I've already brought it up earlier on in this feature, and that's my Wi-Fi. My Wi-Fi is bollocks. Now, it used to be way worse, right? It used to be even more abysmal than it is now. Shockingly, before I did LobCorp, a long time before I first started doing LobCorp, and everything transpired from there, my internet was even worse, to the point where sometimes a video would take all day to upload. Nowadays, it takes an hour. Back then, it could take 6 or 8 hours, and the upload would take so long that YouTube upload processing was more likely to fail, and it failed a lot back then because it was just shitter back then anyway. And a lot of the time, I would, leave my computer on overnight to upload a video. Also, whenever I would upload, it would completely knock out the internet for anything else. You couldn't get anything done online while I was uploading a video. So, no YouTube videos, no watching videos whilst waiting for that. So, really, leaving it on overnight was the only practical solution. But sometimes I'd do that, and then I'd wake up, and it'd be HD processing is taking longer than usual, which usually means the processing had fucked up and I had to start the upload again. So another 8 hours, which was miserable. It's a lot better now. Like I said, upload times are like an hour and I don't even compress videos anymore. I upload them straight from render. And it's relatively quick, but despite how much better my internet is, and believe me, I appreciate my internet, right? Because it is so much better than it used to be. There's no denying that, especially compared to like some of the American friends I've spoken to, for example, especially those living in like urban areas, my Wi-Fi connection is pathetically slow. And it's not necessarily that it's slow, because it's decent, I guess, at times, but it is woefully inconsistent, like woefully inconsistent. So if I tried to stream, I'd be cutting out. Like the stream would keep disconnecting and it would be a mess. It would be an absolute mess. Trying to talk to other people while doing it would also be miserable. I think streaming Foreman Talks would probably be the most feasible thing to do because the bitrate, like the upload bitrate, would be so low because there's no moving parts. It's just me talking, right? I just put a picture up to be the visual for that. I wouldn't fuck with it because I know that would put more strain on it. But no, I tried to see if I could stream. Like I did some test streams, which are obviously private and no one saw. I did some test streams of Helldivers 2 because I thought the idea of streaming Helldivers 2 could be quite fun way back when, and it's not good enough. That's not good enough to present, especially not to the quality that my recorded videos are, my edited videos are. And I'm not saying the quality of my edited videos is particularly high, but the streams would be less than that. It's just not feasible, it's not sensible, and to be completely blunt, it would mostly be a waste of time. Which is sad. I'd like to do it someday. I really would. But right now, no, I can't. And I don't know if you've noticed, but I've only got like 8k subs. I don't make a lot of money from YouTube. I can't really, if there is a better internet package I could get that would improve the speed, I can't afford it. As I am right now. Once again, maybe in the future, fingers crossed, alongside many other things. But there are other facets to content creation and stuff that make me more inclined towards editing and making edited videos than I am towards streaming, because I think a big part of it is simply the fact that in all the time I've spent doing content creation, which is a long time, really, in the grand scheme of things, it has only been recorded video, edited, and produced. I have never streamed. I've never gone live. I've gone live on like Discord, like to like 3 people, where I'm like, I'm playing this game, let's hang out or whatever. I don't do that very often though because I'm such a horrible shut-in. But I've done that. That's fine. But like streaming to YouTube is a different story. But my point is that I'm very used to recorded video now, and I'm very used to what I can do with recorded video. Especially with the idea of like, I don't know, say I'm mid-episode and I'm like, oh, I fancy, I don't know, a drink or something to eat or whatever. I don't have to be like, hold on chat, I'll be right back, sorry for keeping you waiting and all that crap. I just wander off, get something to eat it, come back, and when it comes to the editing later on, I just cut it out. It's super easy, it takes seconds. Like, I'm very used to that, and having to adjust to a situation where it's like, I can't edit this right now. If it's all live, I have to do it on the spot. Would be weird. I suppose this isn't a strong reason. This is just one of the many ancillary details, you understand. I'm just talking about the concept, as it were. If I had a stronger internet, I would be reevaluating all of these side reasons, as it were. But whilst it's not a possibility, yeah, I am very used to being able to edit out stuff in the middle of a video. For instance, as well, and I'm going to preface this next part by saying that I do not condone this, nor am I proud of it, nor do I think it's cool. I'm not saying anyone should do it, and if you try and tell me that, oh, that's a very bad thing to do and you shouldn't do it, I will ignore you. But I was a smoker for like 12, 13 years, give or take, and I'd say maybe last year switched to a vape purely because it's healthier, but I do still have a nicotine addiction, so, it sustains that, right? The result of this is that I sniff and cough a lot, especially when I've been talking for extended periods of time. My sinuses are perhaps not as good as someone who hasn't been smoking for like a decade. So the result of that is that you know, without editing, you will hear a lot more breathing sounds, I suppose, because when I'm talking rapidly for extended periods of time, I can't always get all the air I need from breathing through my nose, so there is a little bit of mouth breathing when it's just an endless stream of words. You've probably heard it more than once. I imagine you've heard it a few times. I cannot get all of it out in editing, but there is more of it than you think, and I edit that shit out. My noise gate is not... I can't configure the noise gate to be good enough to get rid of all breathing sounds, especially since I like to talk at different volumes depending on the bit I'm doing at any given time, which means when I lower my voice to do those kinds of bits, that could just get deleted by the noise gate if it's too high. This term might mean nothing to some of you, and I'll summarize briefly in saying that a noise gate basically cuts sounds below a certain level. So it will cut out the sound of your PC humming, or if you've got a fan on in the background, or air coming in through a window, or indeed clicking your mouse. Like, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, and often sometimes the sound of you breathing will be cut by the noise gate, unless it's too loud. My mic is pretty close to my face, so it doesn't surprise me that it would pick up on that. But yeah, a big part of why I don't want to stream, and I know that this might seem surprising, but it's mostly for you guys' sake. It is for the sake of producing a quality of content that you guys will enjoy. I'm not saying that producing high quality streams is impossible. I am saying it's quite difficult, especially for someone who's not used to it and isn't versed in that. Recorded video and streams are very different beasts. I can tell that without having even done a stream. I can just tell. I've watched streams and been like, this is entirely different. Like, a recorded video, you could argue, is a series of sprints because you can take breaks. A stream is a marathon. You have to pace yourself. Some people stream for like 5 hours or 6 hours or 8 hours or something like that, with the trade-off being, of course, that usually, in most cases, they don't have to edit it immediately afterwards, whereas anything I record in a day, I then immediately have to edit afterwards. But my understanding of the fact that a stream is inevitably more appealing than a recorded, edited video is why I do try and put a lot of time and work and effort into editing the videos to make sure it's cut as much as possible in terms of chaff or background noises to a point. I can't stop the dogs from making noises, you know, they sneak in there sometimes. Fun fact, actually, this is very funny. I only noticed it was happening like a couple months ago, but there is someone going through all of my Limbus Company videos at the moment, and they are leaving timestamps for every time you can hear a dog bark. And there are quite a few, because, you know, they're dogs, and I have 13 of them, so they tend to bark. But yes, a lot of the motivation behind being disinclined to do streams is mostly due to a desire for quality control in regards to the content I produce. There is also another factor, which is, this is even more minor, but it is something that plays on my mind, and it's something worth thinking about, and it relates to quality control. And it comes down to, like, really my commentary while recording. Now, I don't tend to cut much of my commentary overall, because mostly, and I'm giving myself a pat on the back here I maybe don't deserve, but it's pretty alright for the most part. I'm pretty good at presenting my voice, talking about stuff, cracking jokes, etc, etc. Anyone does this for long enough, they would probably become reasonably decent at it, alright? That's not a special trait of mine or anything, but some of the stuff I come out with is sometimes quite dry or quite boring, or I tend to repeat myself, or I'll make a joke and be like, oh, that's a bit dark, I don't really know about that. Or I'll make a joke and be like, that's not even funny, that's just depressing, and, you know, that doesn't need to be in there, I can cut that out. It's not the same as, it's a similar thing, actually, thinking about it. It's a similar thing to, you get those streamers who will, I can't believe this is a thing that happens, but it does. But you know those streamers who will accidentally say a fucking slur on stream or whatever. Now, I'm not at risk of that, because I don't say that shit in my daily life, so why would I say it on stream? There's no oops, that slipped out moment, because it's not something I ever say. And whenever I see a streamer say something like that on stream, I'm like, oh, you say that in your daily life and that's why it slipped out, right? You can sit there and be like, I don't condone using this kind of language at all, and it's like, but you do say it, because it wouldn't have slipped out otherwise. It's you had a reactionary moment in which your more natural form of speaking came out. Now, I'm not saying that everyone who's ever done that is a horrible person, but I'm saying they're using words they probably shouldn't be using in general in their private life, which, fair enough, I guess, that's their business, but it says a lot about a person. But I'm not a threat of that because I don't use those words. And you can ask, if you ever manage to get in contact with the people in my life, you can ask them. Because I have trained myself to a point as well. What is and isn't a particularly powerful and potentially inflammatory word has changed over time, especially since I started recording stuff, you know. But I've kept up with it, and I made a point to be like, right, we've kind of come to the consensus now that this word is no good, and I'll train myself off of it. For instance, and I'm going to use a, I don't know what term is it an acronym? I can't remember. Whatever it is, you know, see you next Tuesday. You know what I mean by that one? And for those of you who don't, ask someone. But see you next Tuesday is not a particularly awful term as long as it's not used in a certain context, right? Context is very important for that one. If you were to use that word on a woman, for example, yes, that's awful. Yeah, don't do that. Do not do that. Absolutely not. But as a general swear, it's generally not. It's slightly worse than, say, fuck or shit or whatever. But YouTube despises that word and you will get flagged for it. And to be honest, some people do just find the word inherently offensive. And I'm like, yeah, I get it. I 100% get it. I 100% understand. So I trained myself to stop using that as an exclamation. I've never used it as a genuine insult for person to person, really. But typically, I've just trained myself to stop using it. It's like how I remember when I worked retail. Because even when I was working retail, I was still making videos, and there was still the sweary gimmick, for lack of a better term, that I tend to apply to videos. During that time, I used more exclamations that would be like, oh God, or oh, for Christ's sake. I used more weirdly, like, Christian blasphemous terms, quote unquote, taking the Lord's name in vain or whatever, because it's much more mild than being at the till, dropping my pen and saying fucking shit, because, you know, a customer wouldn't like that. Or more to the point, really, a customer probably wouldn't give a shit. The manager would not like that. So I do have a knack for, like, training myself to alter my language depending on what I'm focusing on in my life, which I think is quite important. But I guess we've gone way off topic here. The primary reason within this sub-reason, which is really weird, is that I like to be able to tailor-make my footage a little bit and cut commentary that I think is dry or boring or just not funny, you know? There's no risk of me accidentally saying a slur on stream, but I might make a joke that just lands, it goes flat, and you know, that happens. I'm not particularly scared of telling a joke on stream and no one finding it funny. I'm not particularly bothered by that. But I figure, well, in an edited video, I can just cut it, and no one's time is wasted, and I don't feel stupid, because I'm like, well, no one heard that anyway, so no one will ever hear my crap joke that wasn't funny. Sorted, right? But it's another factor. Like, I'd say, other than the big one, which is my internet not being good enough, my reasons for not wanting to stream are all just little details that add up to make bigger ones, to be honest. The other one is that I find socializing very tiring because I'm an introvert, so my brain switches on to, like, full functionality whenever I'm hanging out with people. Even Luke and Buffy, even though they're like two of the people I hang out with all the time and am very comfortable with, my brain is still switched on, right? There are certain levels of, like, social etiquette and decorum, I suppose, that I will employ even with people I am extremely comfortable with, because I'm not on my own, right? I'm not alone, which is my most comfortable state. And as a result, it's tiring. So I feel like if I was to be streaming, because especially since if I first started streaming, right, I'm not used to streaming yet, I'm first getting into it, I would gas myself very quickly on stream. I reckon streams would probably last like a maximum 3 hours, because I'd be exhausted by the end of them, because I'd be too busy doing that whole decorum thing of like, right, I need to kind of present myself in a certain way. Whereas during a recording, yes, I do also have to apply that, because I am speaking to an audience and that is important, but I can take breaks, very frequent breaks if I want to, as long as I'm willing to do the editing and record for longer, where I can just slouch in my chair and relax. And that knowledge makes it less tiring, because I know I can just do that whenever I want, instead of if I was doing a stream and I have to turn around and be like, oh, sorry guys, I need a minute. You know, what if I was like, sorry guys, I need a minute every 15 minutes or 20 minutes for a stream or something. I'm not saying that's the time I typically do for a recorded video, but that would get tiring and people would be like, I can't be arsed. Like, he just keeps taking breaks, you know, like, I don't know. It's a difficult one because, you know, I'd work retail shifts where I wouldn't take a break for like 7 hours, so I've done that before. That's not It's not unusual to me, but there is a difference between working retail and constantly talking into a microphone. While I find talking to a microphone a lot more pleasant and enjoyable and fulfilling and just better in every single way, in its own way, it taxes one specific part of my body way more than like 7 hours of retail, and that's my voice. Constantly using my voice, and I do push out my voice a bit more when I'm doing vocal commentary, speak from the diaphragm, push out, all that crap, and it wears away at my throat, and my sinuses are crap because I was a smoker for 10 years, so I'm a little bit more fragile in that respect, and I can't go for too long, I suppose. I'm perfectly willing to say I'm just less durable than actual streamers. Like, maybe it's because they've been training themselves for so long, or maybe those people take breaks. I don't know. I need to do more vocal exercises, to be fair. I need to look after my voice a bit more and my sinuses and stuff. Drinking honey tea has helped with that, but it's like the only thing I do, and I think I need to do a bit more. I don't know what necessarily that would entail. I don't know. I haven't looked into it. I should probably ask Luke, to be honest. He's a fucking singer. He knows about this shit. But I'd say if you were to look at like the different types of strain that someone's voice goes through, Luke's would be at like one end, a streamer would be at the other end, and I'd be in the middle, where Luke's is very, I guess I do this technically now as well, but I'm not a vocalist, so I don't do nearly as many vocals as he does on like recorded tracks and stuff. But like short, sharp, very intense strain on his throat and vocal cords, right? Infrequently, because he's not recording vocals every fucking day, and gigs can sometimes be months apart, like sometimes weeks apart, sometimes months apart. So short, sharp, but very, very taxing strain on his vocals, which he then will have time to recover from. On the far end of the spectrum, you have streamers who, I can't speak for every streamer, funnily enough, but by and large, it is a prolonged, consistent level of low strain. It depends on the streamer, really. If you've got someone who's screaming while playing Five Nights at Freddy's for 5 hours, yeah, they're ripping their vocal cords apart, fair enough. And more play to them, fair play to them to be able to do that, but also they might want to tone it back a bit. But for the most part, a streamer is probably, they're running a marathon, so they're keeping it low, like low strain, not too much, not too many peaks, not too much pushing it out, keeping it chill. And then I'm flat in the middle, where I'm doing loads of different voices and I'm up and down and I'm all over the place and blah, blah, blah. But I can take breaks, and I'm not doing it for 5 hours straight unless the day calls for it, if I really need footage. And, there's plus sides and negative sides to all three of these, of course. Luke could blow out his fucking vocals and his throat in an afternoon. He doesn't, because he knows what he can and can't do. A streamer would blow out their fucking throat and vocals over like the course of a month if they didn't pace themselves. And for me, it's a dice roll. Sometimes I can go an entire week just going for it and I'm absolutely fine. Some days I record for an hour and a half and I'm like, my throat is killing me and I need to stop. I guess I'm also just not very good at looking after my throat. I don't know. I worry more about getting stuff done than I do about looking after myself, and then I regret it later on. But that's a me problem, frankly. But I guess, yeah, another thing is just the fact that my current style suits me more. It's really, like, it's not a case where I'm sat here and I'm like, I'm not a recorded video, edited video content creator begrudgingly. I like doing this. This is my preferred method. This is what I enjoy most. It's not like I'm looking over at streamers and being like, oh man, I wish I could be that instead. I don't want to do recorded videos. I want to do live streams. Nah, I do live streams like every now and then as a fun little thing if I had access to do so. But my primary, even if I had the best internet in the world and the best streaming setup you've ever seen, my primary form of content would be recorded, edited video, because that's what I like doing. That's what I enjoy the most. That's what I feel most comfortable doing. And it's what I'm better at. I can guarantee I'd be a crap streamer to begin with. I guarantee I'd be fucking garbage. And that's not really a deterrent for me, because, well, I was crap at LP as well when I first started doing that. I was fucking dog shit at it, as every single LPer in the world, near enough, has been. As anyone who's ever started doing anything has been. You're always crap at something when you first start. You might have a bit of a natural talent for it, or a knack for it, or a proclivity towards it, but you're still going to be shit. You're going to be nowhere near as good as someone who's actually put time into it. You have to put time into it to become that person, to become that level of skilled. So a point in the favor of ever doing streams, I suppose, is I'm not worried about doing a shit job. It would be very informal if we did streams, because it's not my primary focus and I'm not too worried about it. You know, we just fucking hang out. I'd probably end up playing like Total War Warhammer or something, just stream that for ages, because I don't know, I'd find that fun. I guess the dogs are also quite a factor as to why streaming wouldn't be a great idea, because if I'm recording a video and the dogs start barking, I can just stop talking, wait for them to finish or go calm them down, and then continue recording, as it were. Like, as long as they end up settling down, it's not so bad. But during a stream, I'd have to be like muting my mic to shout at the dogs to be quiet, because I can't necessarily justify getting up from my chair, going and telling them to be quiet mid-stream, you know, like, and the dogs don't care that I'm mid-stream. They don't give a fuck. They have literally no ability to comprehend that thing. They don't care. They're dogs. They're woofs. They're pups. They bark. That's what they do. That's their thing. You know, you can't take their thing away. That's what they got. It's who they are. So the point is, having disruptive elements nearby disincentivizes one to become a streamer. Also, the fact that planes fly over this house quite a lot and it's fucking loud and the noise gate does not cut it and you would hear it and it would suck. And there would be points in the stream where either I would have to talk over a low, increasingly loud rumble, which does not sound good, trust me, I've heard it in editing, it's bad, or we'd have to sit there in silence for minutes at a time while I wait for the planes to fuck off. It just doesn't work, really, does it? I appreciate the fact that the person made that suggestion of like, oh, Foreman Talks could, you know, that might be, as a stream, could be a cool idea, because I genuinely agree. I genuinely think that's a really cool idea. And I rate them for making that suggestion. And it's why I wanted to do this Foreman Talks, is because I wanted to talk about it and be like, I could just reply to their comment, you know, and just say, this is why I'm not doing it. But no one else gets an answer from that. Not everyone is checking the comments of these videos specifically to find that answer. If anyone cares, which I can't imagine it's everyone, but if anyone does care, well, now it's a video on the channel. And if anyone asks after this point, well, fair enough, they missed the video, you know, like, it happens. I can just tell them. But for a lot of the people here now, at this exact moment, on the 10th of December 2024, if they're wondering why I don't stream, now they know. And that seemed like a valuable thing to provide, so that people don't think I'm not streaming just because I'm lazy or whatever, or I have something against streamers or something like that. I'll poke fun at streamers, but I don't have anything against them intrinsically. Some streamers are fucking garbage and awful, but I mean, that kind of person exists in all walks, in all fields, especially including mine, as a matter of fact. So, you know, don't throw stones. But, something I wanted to mention at the start of the video, but I waylaid myself and forgot, is that I know there's been a lot of Foreman Talks recently, and there's two reasons for that. One is the one I keep saying every single time, and that's because it's easy to make, and I'm really fucking busy and tired at the moment. I got to see Luke and Buffy yesterday, and that was fantastic. I'm probably not going to see them again for, like, I don't know, a fortnight or something, just knowing what our schedules are like. Or maybe even after Christmas. I might not see them again till New Year's. I don't know. We just kind of plan shit when we can. But I am horrifically busy, and my sleep schedule is fucked, so my time is valuable and fleeting, and I'm just doing my best to try and get everything done, and I'm like, I would really rather crack on with the series at the moment, because I'm really enjoying Vampire and Subnautica at the moment. But I would rather put up a Foreman Talks and have people be like, oh, I would really like to see more Vampire and Subnautica, than put up nothing at all, right? I'm trying to make sure that for those of you who actually enjoy me, as it were, and aren't just necessarily here for the game itself, and it's fine if you are here for the game itself, that's totally cool. But for the people who like to hear from me specifically, and thank you very much if you are one of those people, I want to make sure you got something. I want to give you something as to show my appreciation for you being here. You know, because it's very encouraging to have those kind of people around me and watching the show, and I appreciate it very much. Thank you. I also know that when Sweetman's like wishing for death while he's at work, he listens to these, so I'm like, well, I should probably put something up so that Luke has something to listen to. He does have other podcasts as well, but nothing carries my same devilish charm and articulation, so, you know, I got a service to provide. But I think we can leave it there. We don't need to stretch this one out too much. But yeah, that's why I'm not a streamer, and that's why I don't stream. And that's definitely not to say that I will never, ever, ever stream a video in my career, ever. I think streams are a distinct possibility that could be done in the future, like maybe even on Sundays on days off where I'm like, well, I'm gonna sit here and play this game all day anyway, may as well chat with you guys while I'm playing it, right? Like, that could be a thing, and that could be fun. The aforementioned idea to stream Foreman Talks, that could be good, although it would defeat the rather impromptu nature of it, because I'd have to schedule those so that people would know they're happening and then make time to actually show up. So, I don't know. These aren't details I have to worry about right now because such a thing is far, far off in the future. If ever, because I don't know if this area is ever just going to get better internet. I'm in the middle of the countryside, so why would they make the Wi-Fi stronger out here? They wouldn't. It's not realistic. But, I don't know. It's fun to think about at least, and I do have ideas, as I've just kind of expressed, but I have more ideas as well, for if I ever did do streaming in the future. So, rest assured, it's something I think about and have considered, you know, and it's something we might do one day. But that's all from me for today. Friends, thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. Special thanks to our members and patrons, Tonal Horse, Cryolytic, Abyssal Angie, Ninja Dog, Ember Fox, Grand Captain General Peace, Meanbag Beanbag Turtle, Milligan Humor, Cuds, Kana Samaria, Poe, Portrait Lebreck, Lifesteal, Mega Mr. Z-Man, Unclever Names, Summercat, Flanny, Pinch Dragoon, Lyle Hagsire, Lip Potatoes, Proxy, Caminera, Moa, Heartland, Harrick J, Dresso, Sion Distance, Lol, Ephraim, Linky, Zeon Cedar, Bimblewatch, Majoko, Maimu, Now, Kia, Honeydew, Sweet Baby Red, Jess Kitty, Plutonium Pie, Dreamer Ghost, Lullaby, K-Bub, Magic Owl, The Frostbite, Monsoon, SCP-106A, Namad, and Kenny C800 for support me on Patreon. Thank you so much, guys, and thank you all so much for watching and listening, of course. Yeah, I guess speaking hypothetically, because, you know, you never know, we might do this one day, but speaking hypothetically, if we were ever to do streams, and this isn't me being like, surprise Christmas stream, because I physically can't fucking stream on my internet, so I don't want to get you guys' hopes up for some kind of implied eventuality that's not going to happen anytime soon. But let's say, for a hypothetical sake, someday I was like, guys, great news, I've gotten a better internet and I think I can stream now. What would you like to see? What would be your ideal stream? What would you be like, that's something I could get hyped for? Aside from giving me ideas for the distant future, it might just be fun to see what, you know, where people's heads are at and stuff. So yeah, let me know. I'd be interested to hear it. But thank you so much for listening and for watching. And whatever happens next time, I hope I see you there. Doodles. Goodbye.